Hello, my wonderful, gorgeously scented friends. Welcome back to my world of fragrance. Springtime is here, yay! I'm so excited to finally share my spring lineup with you today. This is like the type of video that I'm probably the most excited for ever because I get to talk about what I've been wearing and recommend those to you. So here we have it, my spring lineup. So I'm pretty much just gonna jump right into it and start with the first fragrance that I have, which is Harmattan by Rhodes. Rhodes is an Irish fragrance house, which is quite cool. So Harmattan is the name of a wind that blows in the Western Sahara. So it's dry, it's cool, and that's exactly what this fragrance is. It's an extremely dry fragrance. This actually is quite similar to Dosan by Diptyque, if any of you know that one. So there's no reason for me to have both. I love Harmattan when I'm going for like a more anonymous feel. I want a clean slate. I don't want to necessarily like smell crazy all over the place. This fragrance almost brings me into like a meditative state because it's such a simplistic type of fragrance. This is still strong though. This is a Parfum concentration, so you really don't need very many sprays. And I've had this for quite a while. Rhodes is a great fragrance house if you're looking into another niche house that isn't spoken about too much. Next, I've been reaching for from British fragrance house PENHALIGON'S, Iris Prima. And Iris Prima is probably one of the best PENHALIGON'S fragrances out there. I smelled this for the first time in a department store. There was a guy that handed me like a ribbon strip with Iris Prima sprayed on when it was released back in 2013. And I remember just keeping that ribbon by my bedside table and smelling it every day until the scent wore out because I just loved the fragrance. And I was really like umming and ahhing about whether or not I should get Iris Prima, and I'm so glad that I got it. This is an iris fragrance, as the name suggests, and it was released in collaboration with the English National Ballet. So it's really meant to symbolize the prima ballerina, Iris Prima, that is, you know, the center of the stage, the center of attention, but dances amongst the other notes. So there's leather that's also prominent in this, but it's not a leather where you would think, wow, there's such a strong leather in this fragrance. It's more like a beautiful velvety flower that supports the iris, and this fragrance is just wonderful, just really delightful. One of my favorite iris fragrances of all time. And maybe the leather represents like the leather on the ballet shoes. That's all up to interpretation, but definitely if you're going to check out PENHALIGON'S, you have to check out Iris Prima, and I have this one on right now. Wonderful. Next we have from MDCI, Nuit Andalouse. And this is supposed to represent a night in Andalusia. It brings me back to the streets of Seville or Sevilla, a beautiful, warm, balmy summer evening. And this is an orange blossom that is just so gorgeous. It's supported by ylang ylang, violet. It's just a wonderful, warm summer's eve. And shout out to all my Spanish friends as well. I hope all of you are fine. I just can't help but think back to summers in the south of Spain, and it makes me really want to travel. So spraying this brings me back to those beautiful times in my life. These bottles from MDCI also come with like these large sculpture heads as well. You just have to pay more for those, but for me, I was more into like the juice. I didn't exactly need to pay more for a sculpture head, but it would be so beautiful on like a lovely tray on a table or something if you did have that sculpture thing added. I'll leave a picture over here. It's an eau de parfum, decent lasting power, and yeah, MDCI, if you haven't checked out this house, they make some lovely scents. Next, I'm going to talk about a fragrance that gets quite a few shout outs, and rightfully so, and it is Patchouli Intense by Nicolaï. This house was created by Patricia Nicolaï, who actually is a Guerlain. Like, she has Guerlain blood running through her veins, but ended up starting this perfume house, Nicolaï. As you can imagine, with that lineage and heritage, her creations are outstanding. If you're looking for a patch heavy fragrance, this might not be the one for you though, because this is really wrapped up in lavender. It's more of a fougere fragrance. It's not a patchouli that is earthy or, you know, super strong. This is a patchouli that is quite refreshing. This leans masculine. It's a very aromatic fragrance, and it's super strong. Like this bottle, it's an eau de parfum concentration, but it is like, you really don't need very many sprays of this. And luckily they do smaller bottles as well. So I got the 30 ml of this. So they do 30 ml bottles. And really, if you're a collector, you wouldn't need more than this one, I would say. But I like to have that for convenience, like carrying around and things like that. For the quality that you get with these Nicolaï Parfum fragrances, I would say that the price is justified. But yeah, this is an unusual patchouli, and you definitely need to like lavender to like this fragrance. And I love lavender, so yay me. Next, we have a fragrance from the house of ATKINSON'S. And ATKINSON'S is a London-based house from 1799, and this was a huge perfume house back in the day. 24 Old Bond Street is the one that I've been gravitating towards, and this is such an unusual, wonderful, wonderful fragrance. It's a tea scent with juniper and hints of whiskey in the back, but it's not a heavy fragrance for that reason. It's just like a lovely, refreshing scent to me. I've been wearing this to bed, and I've also been wearing this when I go out for my walks to like clear my mind. And this fragrance just makes me happy. 24 Old Bond Street is the old headquarters of ATKINSON'S. And this is supposed to symbolize like classic British flair. And there's an underlying musky hint of ambergris there in the back going, hello, can you hear me? And I'm like, yes, I hear you. And I love you. I love this composition. There's also a stronger version. I think it's triple malt or something. But I love 24 Old Bond Street. For an eau de cologne, this is actually quite long lasting. Like when sprayed on clothing, I smell this the day after if I wore this to bed. So yeah, to me, worth every penny. Next is a fragrance that I had pulled out by my boyfriend in the Sexiest Fragrances for Women video. And I mean, this is a fragrance that leans masculine, but it is just amazingly sexy because it is woody, spicy, straightforward. Olfactive Studio is a house that is so fascinating to me. Their creations are all inspired by photography, so the memories that a photograph brings back when you see one. And with each fragrance, you get a photograph that goes with it. The photo that goes with this woody mood is, I believe it was by Stephen Rogers, and it was a photo from 1973 of a girl walking out of a path and walking into some humongous sequoia trees. So the sequoia tree or the sequoia wood is at the heart of this fragrance, and it's just so dreamy to me. It's an amazing quality fragrance, and this is created by Bertrand Duchaufour. So if you know what he's capable of, then run, don't walk to smell this fragrance. Or maybe in this case, type and click to learn more about this fragrance. The founder of Olfactive Studios actually came from Kenzo, and she was a part of creating Jungle by Kenzo. So she, you know, likes more bombastic fragrances, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting more from Olfactive Studio. I like Sheep Lachade as well, amongst other ones. So yeah, and to me, you get this big old bottle. So for the price, these are also quite good value when you're talking niche quality and eau de parfum, etc. So check it out. Another fragrance that is from a super interesting niche house is Dirty Jasmine by HERETIC. I've been on a jasmine kick lately, actually, and I wanted to like include way more jasmine fragrances in this lineup, but I was like, I could just do a jasmine video, you know? And my jasmine of choice right now is Dirty Jasmine. It's exactly what I wanted. A wonderful jasmine bush in full bloom. I'd say like August time in the Mediterranean. Can you see where I'm going with all this? I want to be in the Mediterranean. I want to be at a desert. I want to be somewhere else, basically. Travel is such a big part of my life. So now that I can't go anywhere, I like to do it through my fragrances. HERETIC is a New York-based fragrance house, and they are 100% naturally derived. So if you have sensitive skin, if you're looking for less toxins in your products, then definitely check out HERETIC. I would say that their creations are quite, like, they try to push the boundaries also in their whole like brand image and things. They have a podcast that they do. They're the ones that, if you've seen, they released this candle called This Smells Like My Vagina. So so they're an interesting house, and they were created by a couple based in New York City. So yeah, support small businesses. try HERETIC. They often have sales on their US website. I got this one from Liberty here in London, but I love this. Such a realistic jasmine bush. Okay, I'm so excited to talk about yet another house. And this is Essentiel Parfum, a French fragrance house that does amazing, affordable niche fragrances. I believe they're also naturally derived. They're eco-friendly. You get no plastic in the packaging, and the bottles are a wonderful 100 ml size. I snapped this up. I think it was back when I was in Berlin, and the one that, you know, from like first testing really caught my eye was Mon Vetiver. This is by Bruno Jovanovic. This is a house that works with amazing perfumers, and their whole concept is basically like very minimal. So a person doesn't need to have a bunch of fragrances, but they can just find one signature scent and stick to that. So basically they have a collection of signature scents. All of these fragrances are super easy to wear, and for that reason, I've just been grabbing for this. I'm just gonna spray this now, actually. Love it. And I've been on quite a vetiver kick lately. I don't know what it is, but I've just like opened my eyes to vetiver. I love vetiver. I spray fragrances like this and other ones that I'm going to mention in other videos, and just walk outside and I just feel amazing. I feel like I'm one with nature, yet I feel like I'm still clean. I'm not that one with nature. But yeah, Essentiel Parfum. This is a fresh vetiver fragrance. It really manages to like wake you up and freshen you up at first spray, but then dries down to something spicy, woody, sensual. I love my sensual fragrances. I want people to be drawn to me. And that's what I love about this, because although it's so wearable, it still dries down with some interest. So you don't go like totally bored of this. But yeah, check it out. I have 2 more coming from this house actually, because I love this so much, and I actually liked their other ones as well, but I was like, control yourself, lady. Next, I have a date night type of fragrance. Although date nights now occur inside the house, why not make the most of them? And the one of choice is Liquid Illusion from Juliette Hazegun's luxury collection. So slightly more luxe than the rest of their line. This is such an unusual fragrance because it has an almondy beginning and then some buttery florals at the heart and a slightly resinous base. So I just find this to be an unusual fragrance, and the boyfriend loves this on me. It's strong. Definitely a unisex fragrance. So if you're looking for like a sultry nighttime fragrance for your springtime nights, then try out this one, especially if you enjoy like a little hint of almond. This is nice. So next we have yet another interesting one. This is Shalimar Parfum Initial, the flanker to the original Shalimar. Shalimar is a masterpiece, the original, but sadly I'm not woman enough for Shalimar. I can't pull her off. I've tried numerous times, and so once I gave up on that, I was kind of on the hunt for a flanker, a more watered down version of Shalimar, if you will. And enter Shalimar Parfum Initial. This beauty is sadly discontinued, but I still managed to find her online. And to me, this is just a more wearable, approachable, easygoing version of Shalimar, yet you still get the gorgeousness. This is the flanker that I love most of Shalimar, so as an alternative to the original, I choose Parfum Initial. I believe that the low version of the Parfum Initial is still available, so maybe you can find that one. But yes, I have my version of Shalimar. You can't force yourself to wear everything, or just because something is a masterpiece doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work for you. So wear what works for you. And this is the one for me. It's another one that brings the boys to the yard. It's been heavily compared to Dior Homme Parfum. It's a more feminine leaning fragrance. And yeah, I do have the original Shalimar though. Let me show you. So I love the Shalimar bottle so much that I got a gigantic bottle of Shalimar, and I'm not allowed to have pets in this building, so this is sort of my pet. I do stroke her every once in a while. I do feed her with darkness and cold surroundings, so I think she loves me back. But yes, that's the Shalimar that I own. Okay, jokes aside, we have a fragrance from ASQ Abdul Samad Al Qurashi Makan blend. This was in my ASQ haul a while ago. And this is such an easy grab for me. Like, it's such an easy to wear fragrance. It's floral, it's woody, it's musky. I would say it slightly leans masculine on the spectrum. It's, like I've said before, kind of like a Dior type fragrance that you can just spray on and wear and is easily likable. It could be mistaken for designer in my books. And yeah, very affordable. I believe they have 50% off on their website now. And if you're looking to smell unusual, gorgeous, with good projection and alluring, yet not pay a ton, then definitely look towards the Middle Eastern houses and not the French ones. Like, you can get amazing quality fragrances for far less by going towards the Middle Eastern fragrance houses. So ASQ, great prices, great quality fragrances, and this is Makan blend. Next, we have a vintage love from the 90s, 1996 to be exact, and it is Grand Amour by now called Goutal Paris. And this is, like, if you're a 90s kid, then this is what a woman smelled like to you when you were little. Like, a woman who wears stilettos, wears lipstick to work, hairspray. Sorry about all the stereotypes. I'm just like babbling from what I feel in the moment. But Grand Amour is a love story from the 90s. And I would say this is almost like 70s style. This is a chypre floral fragrance. It's just beautiful. I can't tell you why I love this. Or maybe I can, because this is actually, to me, a strong rival to Private Collection from Estée Lauder, if any of you are familiar with this fragrance. I read a long time ago that a woman that I looked up to dearly had this as her signature fragrance, Private Collection, and immediately I ran out and bought it because I was a college student who, you know, wanted to be like my role models. And it was love at first sniff. This is, you know, a more powdery, strong version of Grand Amour. And if you're looking for a lighter version of this, go for this. If you're looking for a deeper version of this, then go for that. And I only recently found out that this is actually Eau de Private Collection. So it's not the original Private Collection, but nonetheless, I love this fragrance. Oak moss powder, just wonderful fragrances. So this one for the moment. And yeah, as with everything, try before you buy, but I love them. Wow, so that was it. I thought I had like a huge lineup, but we just blasted through that video. I hope that you found this somewhat entertaining or inspiring. Let me know down below if you're familiar with any of these fragrances. Do you have any loves here? Do you have any hates here? I love just reading your comments and seeing what your opinions are on different fragrances. That's the beauty of this hobby, that we all have different opinions, different tastes. No two noses are exactly the same. So yeah, please share your opinions below, and I hope that all of you are doing super well. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next review.